Well, Wes, thank you for the time and your availability for a day like this. How much are you looking forward to this season with Miles Turner on the roster? Let's start there.
Well, first of all, welcome everybody. It's like the first day of school here, so it's an exciting day for us as an organization, and we're excited that the season's going to start, and specifically very, very excited about Miles Turner being here. We think he's going to be a big contributor to the team. I've admired his abilities on and off the court for a long time ago. I met him at a NBA Finals game when he was a rookie, actually, and we were both rookies. It was early in our journey, and so I have a lot of respect for his game and his character and who he is. So I think he's going to be a great piece for us.
Now it's come full circle.
Come full circle. We're excited.
Wes is open to questions. We have microphones, I think, on either side of the room, and we'll start with Jim. And just say, as we've had in the past, just say your name and your affiliation, please.
Jim Lazarski, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Good to see you, Wes.
Hey, Jim.
I know this question probably feels like a lifetime ago, this transaction, but we didn't hear from you or John. So I guess, earlier in the spring, there was an opportunity maybe for the organization or John to explore different opportunities or go different directions. Why was it important for you and ownership to maintain that continuity in the front office by extending John for multiple years?
Well, John has been a tremendous asset to the organization, right? So we took a big risk when we brought him in at his relatively tender age and experience, but the qualities that make him who he is were very evident. So we felt like that was a great situation then. We've extended him before. And we had the option to do it again. It was a very, very simple decision. So he's great for us.
Maybe off that and spinning it into this off season, was it always the intention for you and ownership to have him continue to build a roster around Giannis going into this season and going forward?
Yeah, I mean, look, Giannis is one of the handful of the best players and basketball players on earth. So we're very fortunate to have him. And we felt like we have been kind of snake bit the last couple of years in terms of injuries and just events didn't work out, but we liked a lot of the pieces that we had, and so as opposed to a big rebuild, we think it's more of getting a little bit here and there, and then a big piece obviously with Miles, and we thought John was the perfect person to do that. So,
And Wes will go in the far back left corner with Earl.
Mr. Edens, Earl Stokes, Jamie 98.3 Radio. What excites you most about the direction of this team heading into the new season?
I think it's more the same. We had a great shooting team last year. I think that's great. You have Giannis. That's a big part of it. We thought getting younger and more athletic was something that was important to us. I mean, you watch the pace of play of the teams that are playing in June. There's a lot of commonality in terms of the nature of those teams. And so while we liked a lot of the things we had, we thought that with the moves that we've made, we've actually gotten younger and still retaining the character of the team. And these guys are all, kind of 1 year older, which is a good thing on some of our young shooters. So we're excited about it.
Wes, to your right, over here with Eric.
Eric Name, The Athletic. Wes, I guess anytime with Giannis, he always talks about wanting to compete for championships. I think as an owner, when you're paying the luxury tax here in the second apron, it's easy to say, well, this is our commitment. We're showing you our commitment here. Now that you're not doing that, your payroll's a little bit lower. How do you still get that point across to Giannis and have him believe in the vision of this roster?
Well, I think what we did in the postseason kind of reflects the commitment that we have to win. I'm very optimistic that this team can compete. It's interesting. The pundits, say a lot of things at the beginning of the year, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're not right. I think obviously the East has had some real mishaps in terms of some of the injury bugs. Jason Tatum and Halliburton and others. So those are obviously very serious injuries for them. But we think there's a big chance to kind of come out of the East, and I think it's going to be competitive. You have Cleveland and the Knicks and Detroit and Orlando. Those are all good teams at various stages of development, and there's other teams as well. But I think that we really are going to be a very, very good team. So we're excited about it.
And right behind him with Jamal.
Hi, Jamal Collier from ESPN. Wes, just on the same Giannis note, what kind of conversations maybe you have with him throughout the summer as far as where his head's at and his commitment level to where you guys stand and as far as that ability to compete for championships going forward? Yeah,
I mean, I had a great conversation with Giannis back in June out here, and he made it clear that he was very committed to Milwaukee. He likes being here. He likes his family being here. He thinks that the team is obviously Again, we've had some kind of bad fortune in these last couple of years in the playoffs, but there's a lot of positives. Obviously the move for Miles was a big decision for us. You don't stretch wave Damian Lillard, without a lot of introspection. I mean, Damian is obviously a tremendous basketball player. He's also a tremendous person. So on a personal basis, that was a really a hard decision. I think ultimately it's a good outcome in terms of where he's back in Portland and doing stuff. But that's great. But he's a very, very skillful player. But with him being, an Achilles tear and he's going to be out for a prolonged period of time. If we were really going to make the most of our opportunity with Giannis, we felt that we needed to do something substantial, and that's what we did. So we're excited about it. But these are hard decisions, obviously, you have to make. But they're all made with the intention of trying to compete for a championship.
More in the middle of the room here with Steve.
Just in regard to those conversations with Giannis during the offseason, was it any different, any more detailed than in previous off seasons, just because of the situation were going off the third straight first round?
No, it's really more a matter of intent. I mean, we don't put the players in a position where we talk about individual players to come or go. That would put them in a very awkward, inappropriate position. We would never do that. It's really more about talking about the intent that the organization has. Look at the investments that we've made in the last number of years. We have gone all in on lots of different occasions to try to put ourselves in the best position. A player of Giannis's caliber doesn't come along every day, but there's a lot more to this team than just Giannis. I mean, so we had great pieces to start with. Miles Turner is at the peak of his career, in our view, knock wood, and I think he's going to be an unbelievable addition with Giannis and the rest of the team. So, he was just focused that wanted to make sure that our intentions were to not to rebuild, but to try to put the pieces together to go back and compete. That's what we did, obviously. So I think that was consistent with what our conversations were with him.
And in the back right corner with Jack.
Yeah, Jack Maloney, CBS Sports. Just going back to Dame for a second, you mentioned how it kind of did work out for him. I'm curious, were those conversations you had in collaboration with him, or was that a decision you guys made independently?
You had to make him independently. We knew that his heart is in Portland, Oregon, right? And so as a former Oregon Beaver, I was Oregon State Beaver. I can understand why he was so drawn to where his old situation, his family's back there, and everything else. But we didn't. Again, we would never talk to a player and bring them into a conversation about other players. I think that puts them in a very, very difficult and inappropriate position. So no, we didn't do that. But he is I got to know him a little bit as a person as well as a basketball player. He's a tremendous guy. And so, obviously we were devastated when he got injured, as he was, and I wish him nothing, but the best. So.
Far left with Lance.
Wes, recently John and Milt were very honest about you falling short last year and things like that. Do you feel like with Miles Turner and some of the other personnel additions that you're better equipped to handle those shortcomings or do what you want to do going forward? Or are there other things that you've looked at in the offseason to say, okay, we need to be a little better there?
We spend a lot of time with John and with Doc and with the basketball experts, right? We're not the experts, we're just the people that employ the experts. So and I feel like they've done a very thorough job. I think that what John managed to do basically was bring back the core of the team that was there. Very important. Obviously Brooke has been a huge part of our success, a wonderful person as well. Brooke, moves on. Miles Turner comes in, a younger version, similar, great rim protector, great shooter, 10 years younger, plus or minus or whatever it is. So I think that the basketball organization on both the coaching staff and the front office have done a tremendous job of putting the pieces together. And they did a lot of hard work this summer. There was a lot of open questions about who we could bring back, and we were fortunate to bring back, pretty much everybody that was available. So and then we add a piece with Miles. We've got other additions as well, so we feel great about it.
Stay in the back row, the center, Doug.
Doug Russell with 97.3 The Game. I'm interested in the decision when it came to Dame, because in North American professional sports, it's never been done to stretch someone out and to pay them over $120 million to not play for them. I mean, this is money that's coming out of your pocket. How was that conversation broached, maybe with John, maybe with the training staff? How did that all come about?
It was a collaboration with John. It was a small group of people that were involved in it, just given the sensitivity of it. Obviously, Damian was owed a lot of money, kind of rightfully so, but he was not going to play basketball this year in all likelihood, or not much. You just don't know. modern, technology being what it is, maybe he'll come back. I'm certainly rooting for him, but you can't count on that. So then rather than being a $120 million decision, it's kind of a $60 million decision. And that's still an awful lot of money, obviously. You stretch that out over, 5 years and kind of divide it by 5, it's a much more digestible number the way that it is. So while it seems like a giant number, we had already spent the money effectively. You're committed to it. And you have a player of Damian's caliber who's not going to play, and that leaves a big gap. And so we felt like it may seem like a very committed move, and it is committed, but at the same token, it's a very rational thing. We thought about it long and hard, obviously. So.
Back right corner, Wes, Dario.
Wes, Dario Melendez, WISN 12. Getting back to Giannis, there were a lot of reports that if the team wasn't doing or showing the commitment that he might request a trade. Was that ever even broached to you, and would you ever even consider trading someone like Giannis?
No, once we talked with Giannis early in the off season, and he kind of reiterated that he wanted to be here. I think that then the organization all got behind trying to create the best version of ourselves that we can and where we are today. So that was really exactly how it went down.
Time for a couple more, Jim.
Off the court, Wes, local TV rights and is a big deal. I know Adam has talked about that quite a bit. I know markets are different, but I guess can you update, your fans or your users on where the team is at with its local broadcast, and then is Phoenix sort of a model to a degree, and is that something that's interesting to you as maybe what could be replicated?
Yeah, I mean we're fortunate that we have a very attractive market. So in the restructuring of those different contracts, we were considered to be, one of the more attractive ones. There's a good audience here in Wisconsin. And so I do think that when you look at the landscapes, we have a tremendous long-term national deal, right, that starts next year for 11 years, so $7 billion a year, or whatever it is. It's a heck of a lot of money. I think that when you look at local TV rights over the last, 5 or even 10 years, they've kind of gone the other direction, which is surprising. That said, there's a tremendous amount of interest in local rights, and so maybe this evolves in a more collaborative way. That'd be a negotiation, because right now it's all split between the different 30 teams. I think what Phoenix has done, what Utah has done, are definitely one possibility for it. But I do think if we can figure out a way to take this great content that we have and create a more unified kind of local deal, that's probably the best outcome. I'm not in the middle of those discussions, so I'm just kind of telling you what my opinion is as opposed to the actual facts of it. But that's what I think. I think that the streaming services are all very interested in live sports. It's the one thing you can't schedule around, and it's valuable to say the least. And I think that the national deal shows that. And I'd like to think that the local thing follows in the footsteps of that.
And our final question, Eric.
The league is investigating Steve Ballmer, the Clippers, on cap circumvention. I guess just, obviously there was a Board of Governors meeting. Just kind of what were your conversations like there, and what did you kind of maybe try to reiterate to the league about how you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't really have any comment. That's a league matter. I'm on the audit committee with Steve, and I think the world of him, but I have no real comment about the facts and circumstances there at all.